Okay, so we're back at the Tartan now. We got the boards done. They're painted white, nice gloss white here. So just a quick little spray here. We got Tartan, yeah. So you know, this particular boat here, this was built in '65. It was Douglas and McLeod Plastic Works at the time, I do believe. And it's going to shine up really nice. It's been sitting in the yard now. '06, I sailed it back from Catawba. Couldn't get the motor started, so we just sailed it back. You know, I took a 12 by 4, 2 by 4 by 12. You know, tied it to one of the stanchions there, and screwed a 6-inch piece of plywood by like 8 inches on the end of it, and just started rowing, sculled it right out. You know, of course, in the bay, it's nice and calm where the cut was. But then right when we got to the cut, the wind kicked up, and wanted you to know what that 2 by 4 by 12 snapped on me. So the person who was with me at the time, he goes, "What do we do?" I said, "Well, we sail, brother. That's what we do." So we ran out the foresail. You know, as you sailors know, the foresail, that's your windward performance, and we just tacked out of there. And 13 hours later, we were pulling into Cleveland on the wind. You know, if the wind changes and it's not going where you want to go, you throw the anchor out and you wait. You know, that's sailing. But anyway, now we have the Atomic 4 rebuilt, and we have the Iron Jenny, as they say. And I'm also going to have a kicker on board that can go on my 10-foot rubber boat too. That's a West Marine Zodiac hard bottom. So anyway, so let's get a close look here at this. The tires are new. You know, the trailer is home built. It's solid though. I'm going to slap a quick coat of green paint back on it. And if you notice here, what's neat about the Tartan, you know, basically it's a Sparks and Steven design, and it basically is a Finisterre. Finisterre, I think, was, I want to say she was 32, 35, I don't know, I'll have to look it up. But anyway, Finisterre was a centerboarder. We got, you know, 1,500 pounds of lead in there, and then we have a centerboard in the trunk, which I rebuilt. That's a film, that's a video you can look up of 1965 centerboard rebuild. And that has to be installed when we get it off the trailer here. But this is a 3/4 modified keel, you know, which in the 60s, that was all the rage. With your old racing rules. So anyway, this is something to look at here. This prop is protected in an aperture. Okay, so if she did go aground, and it's a cruising boat, so you know we're gonna be cruising outside our own waters. And the the rule of thumb is if you don't go aground, you're sailing in your home waters. If you want to go out, you want to cruise, you want to explore, at some point the boat will meet the ground. Just let's make sure it's a soft grounding in like mud or sand and not on the rocks. And then you can get it though, you know, catch the anchor off and pull the boat back off using one of the main winches. You know, most people don't realize this. You could lift this boat with just the winches. Okay, that's how solid they are. You know, a lot of people like, well, I've heard people say you'll rip the deck cleat out, you're gonna rip the winch off. I've personally have, you know, got this boat out of the mud with one of the main winches. I just ran it, you know, ran the anchor line forward through one of the chocks, took it off the nose, ran it back to the main winch, started cranking, and of course, you know, an anchor line has some stretch to it, so you have to take up all the slack. But what's nice about that is, you know, once the friction of the line overcomes the weight of the boat, and then the line contracts back, it kind of accelerates the boat out of the mud. So, yeah, I would have no problem lifting this whole boat with those, with the winches. That's just the way they're built. I mean, it has to be built that way. If you think about the dynamic loading on the rig, when you're in a seaway, you know, if that boom comes across with the sail up, you know, I've seen that happen. It's not the most ideal situation, but it does happen. You know, the dynamic loading on that rig is a lot more force for a microsecond, a split second, than this whole boat weighs by 10 times. So it's designed to take that. So if you're slowly, you know, loading up, you know, with a winch, these structural components can definitely take that. So anyway, that's it. We're waiting for this here to dry, and we'll get it installed in the boat. This is the you know, one of the scubbers. It drains down and it goes right through there, and that's just the way they built the boat. You know, the boat was built for performance. You know, it wasn't exactly refined. This was a generation right after wooden boats were built. So you know, this hull here, you know, is very heavy. I've heard, you know, at the turn of the bilge, it's 5/8 inch thick, solid fiberglass, polyester resin, And then personally, when I drilled out the transom here to put in a water line, I actually still have this plug, and that plug is at least 5/8 inch thick, and that's just the transom. So, you know, like I said, it's a very strong boat. The hulls on these boats are notoriously well built. I've heard it said that there's never been an osmotic blister on a Tartan 27 hull. If anyone knows anything different, if anything I say people want to add a comment to, I'd love to hear it. I mean, one of the things that got me into sailing was the history of it. So I can go on and on about that. So anyway, let's get this done. I think we're about dry, and we'll get it up on the boat and get it installed and on to the next project.